All right, hello and welcome. My name is Gediminas. As always, welcome to our weekly training webinar. And today we're going to talk about the freeway calls. So what is the freeway call? What do you use it for? Why would you use it? Etc., etc. So first of all, why is it the freeway calls are important? Well, overall, third-party tools are extremely important in business because in network marketing, it's not important what works, it's important what duplicates. So you might be the best presenter in the world and you go ahead and you present the business to all of your friends and family, and hey ho, nobody joins your business. Why? Because they're looking at you and they're thinking, I could not do what she does. I could not do what he does. So instead, when you show your prospect a video or introduce them to your sponsor or bring them to a business opportunity presentation, in their head now they're thinking, hang on a second, I could show somebody a video. I could introduce somebody to my sponsor, etc. So that makes the business doable. It makes it where anybody can do it, right? So that's why it's so important. So freeway calls. Well, now freeway calls can be used via telephone or more, moderately now, with new technology. We can use the same Zoom that we're on right now doing this training. We can use it for freeway calls. So you can put three people on this video call where you're chatting, talking, seeing each other, etc. And these three people can be at completely different ends of the world, and all of this happening via the internet. So hey ho, the technology now is allowing us to do much more things, and of course, free of charge. It doesn't even cost us anything to use Zoom, which is even better. So why freeway calls are really good tool? Well, there is what we call an edification triangle. So if you look at your prospect, and an expert, so who would be your sponsor or your upline leader, there's a triangle between you, right? So between you and your prospect, there is trust, right? So let's say you want your sponsor to talk to your brother-in-law or something like that, right? Now, between you and your family member or between you and your friend, there is trust, right? Now, between an expert and your prospect, there is respect and influence. You see, we have a saying that you can't be a prophet in your own town. And there's a reason for it. Because usually the people who are closest to you, they are least likely to listen to you, right? The reason being is that they know you as a brother, as a cousin, as a sister, as a mom-in-law or whatever, right? They don't look at you as a credible business person all of a sudden just because you started doing your network marketing business. So sometimes it's very difficult to quote unquote convince people in your friend circle to join the business because they don't look at you as a credible business expert. But they will look at your sponsor or your upline leader as a credible expert, right? And finally, between you and the expert, there is edification, which means you sell your sponsor to your prospects, right? So you don't just go, hey, would you like to meet this guy? Or would you like to talk to this person? You really go on to sell this person, right? So let's say, you're trying to talk to your prospect and you want them to get on a call with your sponsor. So you'll go, look, I managed to get 5 minutes or 15 minutes of this guy's time. He's super successful. He's my team leader. He's making, top money in our company. He's got a brand new Mercedes from the company. His team is like 15,000 people, etc. He's super busy and super successful, but very down to earth and very easy to talk to. Now, usually he's very busy, but I managed to get 15 minutes of his time so that you can talk to him and I can introduce you to him. Trust me, you want to talk to this guy, he can literally change your life. Now, that's a little bit different from, hey, would you like to talk to my sponsor in my pyramid scheme? Right? Like, it's really important how you sell. I've heard it somewhere, they say, sell the sizzle, not the steak. So you want to make sure that this person is like, oh my days, I need to speak to this person, right? Because, I've seen it time and time before where people don't do this. And they do a huge disservice to themselves, to their prospect, and most importantly, to their sponsor, right? I've been in a meeting with Irina Oliver, right? And we were meeting somebody in her team, and that person was supposed to bring somebody else as a prospect, right, to the meeting. And we came there and we sat there for an hour because the prospect was an hour late to come to that meeting. Now, as we were driving home, in my head, I said to Irina, hang on a second. If your earnings are £50,000 a month, and we divide that by 4 weeks, and then we divide that by 40-hour week, which like normal people, they work around 40 hours a week. That works out that an hour of your time is worth 300 pounds, right? An hour of her time is worth 300 pounds. So imagine if that person, the team member, when they were booking the meeting, spoke to their prospect and said, look, I need you to meet this lady. Her team is 30,000 people all over the world, etc. Her hour of her time is worth 300 pounds, but she will meet with you for free just as a favor to me. Guess what? Do you think that person would have been an hour late? I don't think so. That person would have been half an hour early. Like, I need to meet this person, right? Like this is a hugely successful person that I can learn from, etc. But sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we take our sponsors, our leaders for granted, where we go, yeah, there's a training call every week. Yeah, and this guy, you know, he's freely available, you know, whatever, right? And we miss out so much. You know, we don't sell that person. And that person doesn't even have to be a super successful superstar, top at the marketing plan or whatever. Your sponsor could be in the business 2 days before you, but you would still sell your sponsor like a huge superstar, rock star, right? Because that person, the prospect that you're putting in front of that person, will listen to them a lot more if they believe that this person is hugely successful, if they believe that this person can potentially change their life, etc. So it's really, really, really important how we do that, you know, how we do the edification, right? And it's called edification, how you edify your sponsor, you edify your leader, right? There's a conference coming up, you go, hey, there's going to be this superstar, there's going to be this leader coming, etc. You go to the international picnic and you go, hey, there's going to be this person there. So you edify the event, you edify the leader, etc. So that your prospect or your team member goes, oh my days, I can't miss that. I have to be there to listen. So that's a little bit about the three-way calls, how you set it up. So you edify the leader, right? Or if you are the leader, then guess what you need to do? You need to train your team member to edify you, right? Because most often, they're not going to figure out by themselves that they're supposed to be selling you hard, etc. So you teach your team members saying, hey, you know, I will help you. I will do three-way calls with you. I will do Zooms with you. But what you need to do for me is make sure that you sell me big to this person. So when I come on call, they will be listening to me, eyes wide open, mouth open, you know, ears listening. They'll turn the phone off, you know, just to make sure that they get it, right? Because that, it sets completely different scenario, right? If I told you that, hey, Patrick, we're going to meet this guy, you know, he has blonde hair, you know, he has a little beard, you know, he's a funny guy, you know, it's funny to hang around, etc. You know, are you very excited about this guy? Not really, right? What if I told you that that guy was Richard Branson, an owner of the Virgin Media, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Atlantic, and whatever, and an owner of Necker Island, etc.? Would that change the situation? I think you would call in sick, right? You go, oh, hey, I have to be there, right? Because I just sold you on why you're supposed to be there, why you're supposed to meet that guy. Well, it's the same guy with the blonde hair and beard, etc., right? But now I told you a little bit in a different way who he is, etc. So it's important to sell that person and train then your team members to sell them. Okay, so what would you use the three-way calls for? Well, one, you can use them to invite. So let's say your team member wants to invite their prospect to come to a business opportunity presentation, or to come and listen to a presentation or whatever, right? So you might use the three-way call to invite. Put that prospect on a three-way call with a sponsor, and sponsor convinces the prospect to watch the presentation, or sponsor convinces the prospect to come to a meeting. So it's like a second party or third party, that is, you know, that tells from the side, say, hey, you know, I know that John invited you to this opportunity meeting, but I just, you know, wanted to reinforce that because I truly believe that, you know, what John told me about you, you're a superstar, etc. I think you could do really, really well in our business, but you need to be there to see what it is. Also, the three-way call can be used to close. Right? So let's say you already showed the business opportunity presentation to somebody, they saw the business, but they're still iffy, they're still on the fence, right? So you could put that person on the call with your leader, with your sponsor, who will then do the closing, who will, you know, answer the questions, cover the objections, and basically help that person to make a decision to join the business, right? The third reason is to move along. So let's say your prospect is somewhere in the process, right? Maybe they've seen the presentation, maybe they need to come to the training next, or whatever. Whatever they are, putting them on a call with your sponsor can move them along the process, right? If you look at it as a funnel, it can move them along the funnel to the next step if they're reluctant to take the next step or whatever, right? Also, the three-way call can be used to welcome the new team member. So let's say you did a great job, you showed the video, the person liked the business, they joined there, you registered them, etc. But now you might say, hey, let's jump on a quick conference call with my top leader, and he will give you some advice as well about getting started. Again, just having another person, another voice, another opinion can completely change, because up until then, they think that you are the only crazy person who does this business, right? But now that you put them in front of your sponsor, they go, well, there's two crazy people doing this business, right? So there's more than one, right? So it's easier to get them to be sold on the decision that they just made, right? And you could do this with 2 or 3 people, right? You could say, hey, let me put you, to speak to Elaine. Oh, as soon as you finish talking to Elaine, hey, let me put you to talk to Loretta. And hey, let me put you to talk to Patrick, right? Guess what? If your brand new member just joined the business and he spoke to 5 super successful people who are fired up about the business and give them this motivation, guess how they're going to walk away out of the presentation? They're going to walk away, oh my days, this is like the best thing ever, right? I need to really put my teeth into this thing and fly with this, right? And finally, freeway calls can be used to promote. Right? So let's say you have a huge conference coming up, which we have, 20th of October, right? I hope you got your tickets, guys. If you're not, I'm going to kick your butt, right? You know that, right? So again, let's say you have some team members who's like, oh, I don't know, I'm pretty busy, I don't know if I'll be able to be there. Guess what? Stick them on a conference call with the top leader. Stick them on a conference call with your sponsor and say, hey, John, could you tell my new team member Peter why it would be worth for him to come to the conference? And then you put him on another conference call with another leader. Go, hey, could you share with him why it's important to go to the conference, right? If you get them to talk to 1, 2, 3, 4 leaders in your team, about why it's worth to go to that conference, or why it's worth attending that training, or why it's worth to use the Smart Start, or whatever you want to promote to this team member or to this prospect, they're going to get sold on it, right? Because they're going to go, wow, all of these guys gave me all of these benefits and all of these advantages why I should do it. I need to be on the thing, right? So that's what it's going to be, that's what it can be used for as well, right? Okay, but now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this around. So you are the leader. If you're on this call, most of you already are leaders, right? You already have team members. So I'm going to flip this around now, where what should you say as a leader on a freeway call? So let's say now you have team members, and hopefully you're going to train your team members to say, hey, I'm available, right? I want to help you to build your business. I want to help you to build your team, so I can do freeway Zooms with you, right? I'll create a link. I'll give you the link, and then you just share it with your person. You tell me, okay, Friday or Saturday at this time, I need you to be on the freeway, and we do the freeway together, right? So once you come on this call, what should you say, right? So I'm assuming that your team member has already done the job and showed the business opportunity presentation video to that person, right? Or already brought them to a meeting or whatever, right? I wouldn't expect you to do a business opportunity presentation over like telephone or like on Zoom, off the cuff, etc., right? Preferably, they should have already showed them the business, because if they show the video, again, it's duplicatable, right? So the prospect knows that I can do the same. But once they come on a call with you now, there's few things you should share as a leader, right? So one, you need to share your background and your story about why you got started, right? So I always say that your story should consist of 4 things, and it should take about a minute. 1, what did you do before you got into network marketing? 2, what did you not like about the thing you were doing before? 3, how did you come across network marketing? Where did you find it? Who showed it to you? Whatever, right? And finally, number 4, your results so far, or how do you feel about the future, right? So, my story usually goes like that. Hey, I'm Gediminas. I'm from Lithuania. I came to this country about 12 years ago. I came here to study. I got a degree in psychology, and I used to work in a school with autistic children. Unfortunately, when I was studying, I used to earn about £1,500 a month as a security guard. And then I finished university, and I went to work as in a school with autistic children, and I started earning £950. So I took a 50% decrease in my pay after finishing university. That obviously shocked my system. I thought, wow, this can't be real, right? There must be something better. And then one day my wife comes home with a DVD, and guess what that DVD was? It was FM Business Opportunity Presentation. I looked at that. For me, it was just beautiful, the whole concept, the whole idea of the business, etc. So we got started, and part-time, in addition to a job, we started building our teams, etc. And now we have over 2,000 people in our team. We've got a car from the company, a bunch of trips to Mallorca, Indonesia, Dubai, Cyprus, Greece, Germany, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, etc. So it's really been a ride, and we love the business, and we're going to build it, to the top, etc. Right? So that's my story in a nutshell, right? So it basically says, what did I do before? I was working as a security guard and then working in a school. I didn't like, what did I not like? I didn't like the pay. Then how did I find out? My wife came with a DVD. And finally, number 4, right, my results so far. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, hang on, but I didn't get a car from the company, and I haven't been, to many countries with a family, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about it. Then you say how you feel about your future. You go, hey, look, at least now I have a track to run on. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know where I'm going now. I'm not in a dead end anymore like I was in my job. This is going to take me to the next level in my life. I know that, I'm going to hit this level and that level and that level, and I'm going to build this passive income, and I'm going to retire in the next 5, 10 years or whatever, right? So you can share your vision, where you're going to go with this business, etc. But regardless, most people think that that's the most important part. It isn't. Most important part of your story is, what did you not like about your previous life? So maybe you were not paid enough. Maybe you hated your boss. Maybe you hated going through traffic every day. Maybe you hated leaving your children at home and not being able to spend time with them, etc. Whatever it is, share your pain. That's what people can relate to. They will go, I hate my boss as well. I hate going through traffic as well. I hate, not being able to spend enough time with my family as well. Except that's the most important part, right? So that's your story. The number 2, mention success you've already achieved. So that can be a part of your story, or you can do that after you've told your story. Tell, hey, and this is what I've achieved so far, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't have to be your income. If you want to share it, you can share your income, but you don't have to. You can just share things like, I made a bunch of friends, I've got so much personal development. I've been able to travel the world, meeting, other like-minded people, whatever, everything that you got out of this business. And I'm sure you got a lot out of this business. Then number 3, mention many success stories across the whole company, right? So you can then mention the Roy Strong and Irina Oliver and Sarah Mahdi and, whatever, all the leaders around the world and what they've achieved and what sort of, recognition they got and what sort of income levels they are at, etc., etc., etc. Because that, again, helps to strengthen. And not only the income stories, you can also share product stories, about how somebody lost weight, how somebody, whatever, fixed their skin condition, how somebody, whatnot, right? So you can share product stories as well and things like that. So that's number 3. And then number 4, ask the prospect, hey, so are there any remaining questions, or are you ready to, create success with our business right away? And then when answering, be brief, right? Don't get into huge conversations. If they have an objection or a question, you handle that and you go, hey, is there anything else before you're ready to get started? No? Awesome. Let's get you started then, right? So you're with the attitude of assumption. You're assuming that either way, the person is going to join the business, right? So what do I need to help you with before you join the business, right? You're not going to go like, are you joining the business, right? You're not going to do that. You're going to go, hey, is there any other questions left? Or are you ready to start creating your success with our company right away? And then boom, once they're ready, right? Then number 5 is you get the application started, right? So you get them started on the application. So whether if they're doing it online, you go, hey, no problem. Now you need to get in touch with John, one-to-one, and John will help you to fill in the registration, get you signed up. You'll get your activation link. You click on that, you'll get your ID and password, and we're ready to rock and roll, build this business, etc. And then lastly, number 6, hugely important, and a lot of leaders forget to do that. And if they forget to do that, they are not really good leaders, is before you finish the call, you edify the team member who organized the freeway call to empower them now to have the influence over their prospect. Does that make sense, right? So let's say Patrick put together a freeway call with his friend John, right? So he edified me before the call. He said, John, you need to listen to this guy, Gediminas. He's superstar. He's blah, 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 right? So now we're on this call. This guy is listening to me like I'm the God, right? And I've given him all of this information, etc. So before I finish, I need to pass the baton back to Patrick so that he now believes in Patrick. He listens to Patrick. So I'll go, and by the way, John, you are in the best team ever. Patrick is one of my superstars in the team. He's one of my best guys. He's so hardworking. He's so clever. He's so smart. You're so lucky to be in his team. Trust me, this guy will look after you and he will help you to go to the very top in our business. You know, I wish you best of success. You have a fantastic sponsor and I will be there to help you both as well. Have a, you know, great business. Bye for now. Now, how does John now feel about Patrick? He goes, oh my gosh, I just thought he's my broke brother-in-law, you know, but he's actually an amazing guy, right? Right? So he's empowered now also to go and work with this guy because I've just now edified him and put him up on a pedestal in front of this guy, you know, and he's now thinking, oh my days, you know, this is rock and roll. And if you make Patrick feel good about putting this prospect in front of you, guess what's going to happen? Tomorrow, Patrick is going to ring me and go, hey, I've got another guy who needs to speak to you. Hey, because he likes the way that we finish, right? Because his team members are now looking up to him and listening to him, etc. And the same way you're going to do for your team members, right? So you're going to edify them, right? And you do that all the time, whether it's on a freeway call or it's in a presentation or it's in a whole meeting or whatever you do, you always edify the host. You always edify the host so that everybody who's in attendance go, wow, 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 this person is amazing, etc. Because when you roll in as a leader, everybody's looking up to you, right? So you want to make sure that before you leave, everybody's now looking up to this person because they are your protege. They are your, you know, superstar in your team, etc. So it's so, so, so vitally important. And like I say, it doesn't matter even if you joined 2 days before this guy or if this guy joined 2 days earlier and now he invited 20 people into the room, you're going to edify him like he's the top leader in the whole world, right? It doesn't really matter that he started 2 days before them. You know, what matters is that these guys need to look up to that person, right? So that's it for today's training, guys. I hope you got value from this. I hope you got some useful tips on the freeway calling and how to carry yourself and how to help and train your team members how to do the freeway calls. That's it for today. As usual, if you got value from this, if you're watching a recording of this, please do share it, pass it along with your friends and team members, etc., so they can get the same information. And as usual, I'll see you next week and I'll see you at the top.